This is part 18 of LINQ tutorial. In this video, we'll discuss GroupBy and LINQ. GroupBy operator belongs to grouping operators category. This is the only operator within grouping operators category. GroupBy operator takes a flat sequence of items, organize that sequence into groups based on a specific key, and return groups of sequences. In short, GroupBy creates and returns a sequence of IGrouping k, v, where k is the key and v is the value. Let's understand GroupBy with examples. Let's flip to Visual Studio. So here I have a new console application. All I have done so far is added this employee.cs class file to this project, within which we have the employee class with 5 different properties: ID, name, gender, department, and salary. In addition, we also have this GetAllEmployees static method, which returns a list of employee objects. At the moment, this method returns 10 employee objects, out of which 6 of them belong to IT department and 4 of them belong to HR department. Now what we want to do is get employee count by department. IT has got 6, HR has got 4, and display that on the console. So let's see how to achieve this. So within the main method, we are going to make use of this employee class and then invoke the getAllEmployees static method. This method gives us that flat list of employee objects. Now what we want to do with these employee objects is group them by department. So we are going to make use of this GroupBy extension method. Now notice that there are 8 overloaded versions of this method. We're going to make use of this first overloaded version, which expects key selector. So what is this parameter all about? Now when we say we want to group employees, we'll have to say what is the key by which we want to group these employees. We want to group them by department. So we specify that using a lambda expression. And if you notice what this method is returning, it's returning I enumerable of I grouping of string comma employee. So we are getting a sequence of I grouping string comma employee. So what is that string there? That's the key for the group. Now if you look at this department property, its data type is string. So we are grouping employees by department. So within the group, the key is going to be string department name, and the value is going to be employee object. So let's store these groups in a variable called employee groups. So what is this employee groups variable going to contain now? It's going to contain 2 groups of employees. One of the groups key will be HR, and all of the employees belonging to the HR department will be in that group. The other group key is going to be IT, and all the employees belonging to IT department will be in that group. So we have 2 groups now in this variable. So all that is left is to use a foreach loop through each group, print the department name and the total number of employees within that group. So let's use for each. Let's call the variable group in employee groups. So first we want to print the name of the department. So let's use a placeholder there for the department name and then the total number of employees. So we use the key property of the group because that is what is the key by which we are grouping employees. So key property is going to return us the name of the department, and then we want the total employees within that group. So simply use the count aggregate function. So let's go ahead and run this now. Notice that we get the total number of employees by department. Now let's say we want to find the total male employees within each department. So we want to exclude female employees from the count. Now to achieve that, we can use the other overloaded version where we specify that we only want to count male employees. So when we run this, now notice that this count only shows the number of male employees within each department. And if you look at the syntax here at the moment, we're using the extension method syntax. Now let's rewrite this query using SQL-like syntax. So for that, we'll start the query with from. Let's call the variable employee in employee class.getAllEmployees. What we want to do is group the employee by department. That's it. Let's run this now. We should get the identical output. Now since this is a group, you can use any aggregate function. So far we have just used the count aggregate function. Now if you look at the employee object that we have got here, we also have salary property. Now let's say we want to find what is the maximum salary that is paid to an employee within each department. Now to find that, we can use the max aggregate function. So we use the max aggregate function, and then we say we want the maximum salary. So x such that x dot salary. So when we run this, we should see the maximum salary that is paid within each department. Similarly, if you want min salary, simply use the min aggregate function. Or if you want the total amount of salaries paid to all employees, use the sum aggregate function. If you want to find the average salary, then use average aggregate function. Alright, now let's look at another example. Now what we want to do is, in addition to the name of the department and the count of the employees, we also want each employee name and the department to which they belong, as you can see here. So let's see how to achieve this. First of all, we want the dashed line. So the query itself is not going to change. So here what we're going to do is print out a dashed line, and we want the total count of employees. So let's actually use the count extension method. And now notice this, what is this group going to contain? This group contains the department key as well as the employees belonging to that group. And we just print the key, which is the department name. We now want each employee object that is present within the group. So what we need to do is use another for each loop. Let's call the variable employee in group. So this group now contains all the employees as well belonging to that specific group. So all that is left is to print the employee name, and then let's print a tab space and then the name of the department to which they belong. Let's also print two blank lines. Let's run this. Notice that department name and the employees belonging to each department. Alright, now let's look at another example. So in addition to printing the department name and the employees belonging to each department, at the moment if you look at this data, it's not sorted in any way. First here, look at this, IT department is being shown, then HR, and then the employees within the department are not sorted in any fashion. Now what we want to do is sort the department names first in ascending order, and then employees within each department must be sorted in ascending order as well. So let's see how to achieve that. So at the moment we are just grouping the employees. Now what we want to do is we are going to group them and store them in this variable called eGroup. Okay, so now what we want to do is first sort by department name. So I'm going to use here order by and then specify we want to sort by the key property. So what is the key going to contain? Department name. So the groups will be sorted by the key, so they will be in ascending order. And then what we want to do is sort the employees within each group in ascending order as well. So for this process, for this purpose, what I'm going to do is project a new anonymous type here, and this anonymous type is going to contain a property called key, and in this property we are going to store the group key, and it's going to contain another property called employees, and this is going to contain the employees that are present within the group. Okay, so now we are getting an anonymous type back, and obviously because now we are projecting anonymous type, so this groups now is going to contain two objects or two groups with these two properties. Okay, so now this employee groups is going to have a property called employees, and on that we need to call the count. So let's call employees.Count. So this should fix that compilation error. And then again here, employee is not present in the group variable. employees are present in this employees variable, because that's what we are projecting the employees into. Right now, when we run this now, notice that the department names are sorted but not the employees within each department. So we want to sort them, and the way we are going to do that is by using the order by extension on this group, and then say we want to sort them by name. So we want to sort them in ascending order, so we are using order by. Alright, so let's go ahead and run this now. Notice that the departments are sorted in ascending order, and the employees within each department are sorted in ascending order as well. That's it for today. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.